Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the 715 Tailgate Outdoors podcast. A lot of stuff happening in the great outdoors, too, so let's chat with our guy, Mr. Jake Bolks, here this morning. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
You there, bud?
Yeah, you're doing good. How about yourself?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. You staying cool out there with this heat wave going on right now?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's kind of nice. It's comfortable weather. It's cold, or it's warm, but not too warm. So I don't know. It's not bad. It's kind of a break from that polar vortex or whatever we had last week.
Yeah. So I mean, we've had a few people ask or wanted me to ask you, Jake. How's the ice conditions? I know we got like ice fishing tournaments coming up and such, and I know with this warmer weather, maybe it's kind of making some people a little bit nervous and such. But from what you've seen or what you have heard from the places you've been, how are ice conditions right now?
Yeah, so everywhere's different. I always have to throw out the line. No ice is 100% safe. Even in the middle of negative 20-degree weather, you can go out on a river or an area with springs, and there might be thin ice. So you just never know. So you got to be cognizant of that and be careful. But we made a lot of ice this year, so there was a lot of ice on a lot of water bodies. So I know just earlier this week, some of the wardens were doing some investigations on the river down in La Crosse area, and they're driving squads out there. So if you can drive squads on the Mississippi River, there's probably plenty of ice in other places of the state. The main thing is that you need to just check. There's nothing wrong with getting out of your truck and drilling a test hole and making sure there's as much ice as you need for whatever you're doing, whether it's a vehicle or walking or whatnot. So the other thing too is there's a lot of different Facebook communities and bait shops and other people fishing that might have that answer that are out there, so you can scour social media as well. Yeah,
good point there too. So I know we got a big one coming up next week, Jigs Up over at Lake Wissota.
Yep.
I know last year they had to call it because of ice conditions, so hopefully they'll be able to get that one in for next week too. So with the ice fishing tournaments, Jake, this is just kind of random off the top of my head. I know that they've got different things like biggest walleye or something like that. Fishing rules still apply for fishing tournaments, right? I would imagine.
Everything still applies. Everything still applies. There's no exemptions for ice fishing tournaments, unless there's some special regulation written into state statute and allowed. And usually, there's a couple little exceptions when it comes to like open water. Some open water fishing tournaments or bass fishing tournaments, but when it comes to ice fishing, you need a fishing license. You got to follow the bag limit. You got to follow the size restrictions. In our area, we're in the ceded territory. So if you catch a walleye within that restricted range, 20 to 24 inches, you have to figure out how to, you got to find out if the tournament, if they allow you to measure it and then bring it. Measure it in the shack and then release it or what, because the second you possess the fish, as in like you take it out of the water and you're going to bring it somewhere to get it measured and whatnot, you're in possession of an illegal fish. There's a lot of states that you have to release it right away or immediately. So you got to be cognizant of the rules and make sure you're following them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Hey, we got for some people too. Tomorrow's the last day for some areas for deer hunting, for bow hunting for that extended season, right?
Pretty crazy, huh?
I know, right? So this might be a stupid question, Jake. Say I go out bow hunting tomorrow early evening. I hit one, so I got to track it, but it's February 1st, and then I find it. Even though it's past the 31st, can I still legally register it?
Yeah, you have until 5 p.m. the day after the harvest.
Okay.
No matter what, season or, you're participating in. So, there's people that have agricultural damage tags that can hunt does in July. And the same rule applies to them, 5 p.m. the day after the harvest.
Gotcha. Okay. So I wasn't. I didn't know. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's a really good question. Yeah, season's closed. It's not like the registration system closes itself down or anything like that. It'll still let you do it legally, and sometimes even after the legal deadline, it'll still let you register stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's important.
Mm-hmm. We got
the main thing, the main thing, like you said, was just making sure you get them registered, and if you forget or run into an issue, you always want to call our tip line and self-report, or give your local warden a call.
Okay. We got a question that came in just a couple minutes ago. This is from Jay in Eau Claire. Question for Warden Jake: does the DNR use or own planes? If so, what are they used for? Deer surveys or catching illegal baits or other violations?
Good question. And we do, and we use it for just about anything, any justifiable reason to get the plane up in the air. It costs like whatever department. So like if the law enforcement's using it, if wildlife are using it, if fisheries are using it, whatever, it costs us, money to pay the gas and whatnot. But we do have planes. We do have pilots out of different airports around the state, including Eau Claire, and they do a little bit of everything. They help us with law enforcement investigations, bait flights, shiner flights for people shining deer illegally after the closing hours, and much more law enforcement stuff. But they also get involved a lot with like the biology when it comes to fisheries and wildlife, with deer numbers, and if they're trying to do some sort of study and they got collared animals, they can track animals from the sky with some of their equipment, and they can do just about anything. So there's a lot. They're commonly used, and they're a really good resource. We also utilize them in rescue operations. So we have some planes that have FLIR, which is basically a camera that uses heat source, kind of like you see on high-speed chases and different stuff like that. So if we have missing hikers or missing hunters or whatnot, we can get that activated and up in the air to help with the search of a missing person.
Gotcha. Is it, and as the texter Jay said here too, it's like he heard that it's a popular time for plane enthusiasts to maybe go out during the gun season and see the orange during that week. Have you found that too? Or do you know anything about that, if it's a popular time?
I don't know if they necessarily just go out to look around or whatnot just for fun, but if we need to monitor an area, or if we just want eyes in the sky, like they fly a plane over Lake Winnebago to get shack counts on like how many spears they think are out there, how many shacks are out there during the sturgeon spearing season. But in really busy areas, sometimes we, especially if we have complaints or issues or want an eye in the sky, we can throw it in the air. And then, someone in orange against a brown or white ground stands out like a beacon, so it's pretty easy to find people if we need to find them, especially if they're lost or injured or something like that, having a medical emergency. I
think I asked you this a couple of years ago too. Like, I remember as a kid growing up, and we'd be out hunting or something like that, and we'd hear a plane, and the old, maybe the old timers or such would always say, "Oh, that's DNR flying around over there too." So.
Oh yeah. No, there's a few guys where a couple years ago in Jackson County, we had one up and doing kind of some bait stuff during the gun deer season, and the plane was flying right over us when we were talking with the guy, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good way to collect evidence too.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been up in one of those planes and done some of that stuff?
Yeah, I have a few times, but after like the third time, not enough Dramamine could keep me from kind of getting nauseous up there. So those pilots are extremely skilled. If they, they can get right over the treetops and basically circle around, so we can identify a gravity feeder or a elk calf or whatever they're trying to identify. They can get basically as low to the ground as they can physically get, and they're built for it. I'm not.
Yeah, man, that's nuts. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive watching those guys fly.
I know, it's we talked about it a couple weeks ago too, but I got to imagine with this weather here too, Jake, snowmobile trails, Still a lot of them
Yeah.
closing, and I mean, if anything, kind of keep looking to the north if you want to go anywhere, if there's anything open.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but I know there's a couple counties open in the northeast. They've had a little bit cooler weather. They got a little bit more snow last week. We're doing some little training for the recruits, and it's still on for next week and the week after, I think. So I know there's snow and open trails up there because they would have canceled it if it wasn't. So there is opportunity, but I can't imagine, they're great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get a sled out or whatnot, and before this warm weather, I was ripping the sled around Lake Lesotho a little bit and stuff. So there was still like the opportunity, but obviously this week with record temperatures today, that's going to diminish that.
Yeah.
So we just got to hope for another cold front and just a huge snowstorm. But I know it's fun to have warm weather and all that, especially with kids. It's great having warm weather to throw them outside. But I sure love the snow and riding snowmobiles and checking ice fishermen, doing that kind of stuff. So I kind of hope it comes back for a little bit yet this year.
Yeah, I mean, especially too when you got those businesses that count on winter stuff. Just even like skiing and that too. So
right, yeah, back-to-back winters like this is pretty rough for them. I don't envy them at all.
Absolutely. Jake, good stuff as always, man. We appreciate it. So
hey, one quick note.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of when it comes to like ice fishing tournaments, one thing we run into a lot, and we use our discretion a lot with this, but I think it's good if people understand this, is that I mentioned, all the regulations stay the same when you do ice fishing tournaments, which includes if you're not attending your tip-ups or lines, or you have to be, attending them. So a lot of people during ice fishing tournaments either go over to other people's shacks and start BSing, or they go buy raffle tickets, or they go register a fish, and then they leave 3 tip-ups out or their lines down in their hole, and they're on the other side of the lake, or they're up on the landing, buying a bratwurst and getting raffle tickets. And then we knock on a shack, and there's a bunch of unattended lines. So if you we use the discretion. We know it's the atmosphere and everything like that. Sometimes it's warnings, sometimes it's tickets, depending on the situation. But if it's possible or legally, what people should do is if you leave your shack for whatever reason, just reel those lines up quick, reel your tip up quick, so you don't have unattended lines in the water, or you don't leave your buddy with 9 or 12 tip ups for one person, because that's where people get jammed up a lot too.
Gotcha. Good notes there.
So just important, especially like you said, with the tournaments coming up in February and everything.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt about it. Hey, good stuff as always, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Dan, appreciate it. Yeah, it's always fun. Love doing this.
All right. Hey, we'll catch up with you again next week. Okay, buddy?
Yep. Talk to you soon.
You got it. There you go. Jake Bolks, DNR Warden for the state of Wisconsin, joining us. Don't forget, you can always send in your questions ahead of time. Hit us up with a text or shoot me an email. That works too. Dan at sportstalk1051.com.